weekly meeting podcast for the OWASP Top 10 for Large Language Model Applications. If you'd like to stay up to date with our project, please click subscribe. And if you enjoy the content or have any questions, please feel free to comment and share. Now, on to our meeting.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started. I'll just go ahead and we can go take a look at our agenda for today. But first, let me go ahead and do any welcomes. Do we have anybody who's new to the call to do introductions?
Yes.
If you're new to the call, raise your... Oh, there we go.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. I work with Rock. Sorry, I feel like I'm crashing the meeting here.
No,
This
you're
is
not
my
crashing
first
the meeting.
but it's great to be here.
Great, welcome, Sabrina. I saw we had another hand raised, and it's not showing up on my...
While you figure that out, I'm Sam Bach, and I work at Get Real Security. I also feel like I'm crashing the meeting, but it seems like it's open to the public, so I just wanted to listen in.
Yeah, this is an open meeting. We do this every 2 weeks, so you'll hear kind of all of the sausage making, as well as get an opportunity to contribute where you'd like to, and possibly get sucked into doing more with the project. So yeah, welcome.
And I'm also new. My name is Kirill. I hope you can see me and hear me.
I can see you, yes.
Yeah. I'm new to this meeting. I'm cybersecurity enthusiast. I want to see how the things are going from the kitchen.
That's great.
I hope I can contribute in the future.
Awesome.
A great reason to join.
Okay, anyone else? Just voice. I was scanning through for more raised hands, but just go ahead and reach out if you want. All right. Going, gone. Okay. So we're going to roll into the our lead reports. We don't have a lot of top level summary pieces to talk about today. Again, this meeting is our April 9th meeting of the OWASP GenAI Security Project. We are working on going through a few things today. We've got right now, I'll do an update on the RSA components. We've got some Compass updates coming along, one of our projects, agentic security, translations, and then our CTI update. We'll open it up for discussion and other items after that. So let me jump right into it. So as some of you may be aware, we are on path for our summit. In fact, we're ending up with an entire day at RSA. So if you want to come to RSA and spend a day with the project, we have that pretty well set out. So the project starts off on the 30th of April at RSA. That's the Wednesday. And we have a half-day summit. And it's open to all RSA Conference pass holder levels. So if you're Expo pass holder level on up, you're welcome to come on in and join us. I just got an update from the team at RSA. We are roughly around 250 people who have already added this to their schedule. So we are actually ahead of the other sessions currently. So I always like to be on the lead. So this is awesome to see the amount of energy and excitement about the session. And we still have almost 4 weeks to go before we get this up and rolling. The next part is we also have an agentic security workshop, and this is going to be happening at the Spur. So this is at a location just adjacent to the conference area. This is, John can also talk a little bit more about it when he gets to agentic, but I want to make sure people were aware that this session is going to be there from 2 to 5 at Spur. It is open to everyone, so all RSA and non-RSA attendees. So if you are a OWASP member but aren't necessarily attending RSA, you can certainly come and join the conversation around AI, around agentic AI security. There is going to be an agenda that runs from 2 to 5. And you get an opportunity to meet up with the project leads as well, who are leading each of the different areas, as well as participate in the conversation. So that's set, and we are good to go for that. Next, if you stay with us, then at 5:30 we roll into at the Spur. We roll into a networking event, and that runs till 8:30. And we'll have small bites and opportunity and drinks and opportunities for people to chat and connect. Registration is required, I'll mention, both for this event and for the ASI event to make sure that we don't overblow our capacity. So register soon. We are already at about, surprisingly, we just announced the agentic. We just announced the event, and just on, what was that, on Monday, and we're halfway to capacity already. So we'll open things up if we can, but it's great to see the reaction and have everybody kind of come in and join us. So that's happening. If you are at RSA and you have a full conference pass, we do have some sessions. One is a replacement image right over my face, but one is a session we have with the different open source organizations. We're going to be talking about how open source communities, open standards are working to help lead and secure AI. That's going to be happening on Tuesday, April 29th. And then we also have a presentation that Steve will be giving earlier on the 28th, if you are a pass holder. Again, unfortunately, this is a full conference pass, but this will be an interesting conversation. I have the co-chairs of the COSI Foundation, co-chairs and chairs of the OWASP, the Linux Foundation, OpenSSF, and CNCF. So we can talk about how we're working, collaborating across different organizations to help secure AI going forward. We have our promotion timeline. So we've already done the agenda promo. We did the networking event promo on the 4th. We have the agentic workshop one that went out on the 8th. The open source standards collab RSA session will get promoted on the 10th. Steve's session will go out on the 15th. On the 17th, we have a press release that's going out, which will be announcing our new sponsors and our RSA activities. So we have 8 new sponsors, and we'll be highlighting those 8 new sponsors as part of that release. We then have a promo, again, a reminder that we'll be highlighting the speakers at the summit. And then Aubrey, I don't know if you're on right now, but we had talked about putting together a podcast promo, kind of getting ready for RSA, and that's something that we need to kind of want to finalize, but I'd like to do that around the 23rd-ish. And then our reminder on the networking event on the 24th. So our communications are pretty heavy through to RSA, but it should help promote the activities that we're doing. So just wanted to give that as a recap. Anybody have any questions around RSA or our promotions or timeline, etc.?
This question related to the press release. I know you and I talked about it. Maybe we should talk a little bit, a few minutes offline, if you need help with the press release.
Yes, and actually, the one thing I realized now that you were mentioning it, Majid, was also that I don't have on here, which is our newsletter that actually goes out early this year. Early this month, so it will go out on the 22nd. So that's missing from here, but I'll add that, and that's part of our commitment to the RSA team, so that we have our relationship with them to allow us to do the summit. It's a great partnership. We're a associate partner, so that gives us the ability to do this as a not for profit, which is a huge expense if you're a commercial company, as you know. So this is a great partnership. So the things that we do to help maintain that are really critical. Okay, that's all I have, if there's no more questions. All right, Compass update. Sandy.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm gonna put this in slideshow mode. I've been testing people's eyes. Sorry about that.
yeah. So I really want to thank Krishna, Scott. You guys have I've been promising for a very long time, kind of getting all of my ideas, the next version of the governance and security checklist. I've had a number of stops and starts and ideas around it. Krishna really helped me focus on what I was trying to accomplish. Initially, because I developed the first version of this for Sandor Shuloff's AI risk red teaming class, I had a kind of blinders on where I was seeing it as a red teaming, the mission was helping red teaming teams being able to quantify the risks that they were producing. And after discussions with a number of different people, recognized that this probably needed to be its own project. So have support. I submitted a proposal to Scott last week. Scott, let me know if you need me to edit or add more to that. We're having, the key takeaways, this is now its own project. I'm leading the project. Rock Lambros has agreed to be the co-lead on it. Anyone is welcome to join it. We're still using the LLM AI SecGov channel for conversations. There's a number of people, Majid, a lot of people, Russell, who've offered excellent feedback on this project. And it was all in my head. Like I'm the blocker. So finally was able to get all of this out. I have a version that I'll show the team tomorrow. We're going to keep the team meeting at the same time and day as we've had in the past using the red teaming Zoom channel. But this will be the last time. I'll put this all in the channel. We're going to move it to being an hour later so that we fit between the red teaming when they pick back up and the AI threat intelligence team that goes an hour later, and then have hopefully weekly meetings until RSA, and then I'm trying to get a draft version out before RSA. So we'll talk more with the team about it. We'll have one more meeting to see if it's feasible to get it out the door, and one of the next thing I really need are test cases to walk through the methodology with come up with different ways that how a team would actually be able to use this to evaluate and score. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Yeah, and so this kind of is a very detailed explanation of what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to be able to help teams, the two big use cases, if they're using a GenAI application and there's an issue, a CVE or something, we know that adversaries are using it, can they evaluate and determine their threat from it? And also if their organization is bringing in a new application, for them to quickly determine a strategy, understand their threat, and start prioritizing, what do we need to test? Where do we need to test? What are we concerned about? I want to point out around CAPIC, those are CWE scores that are specific to LLMs. So again, we're trying to standardize using the existing frameworks and processes that MITRE and has really leveraged, threat intelligence teams and cybersecurity teams have used to evaluate vulnerabilities, issues, and applications in the past. I'll pause there and see if there's any questions. The other thing I want to highlight, this is really taking the LLM governance and security checklist, just taking everything that I detailed in that and creating, showing people how to operationalize it. So this is actually the next step with the checklist, which is, okay, you've told us what to do. We know what we need to. Now, how do we actually do it? And so I'm hoping that this kind of takes us beyond just giving good guidance and really gives people a tool that they can take back to their organizations and start building out their strategy and understanding what they need to look at around any Gen AI solution, whether it be agentic, whether it be a third party, how do I actually understand what my threats are and how do I make sure that I have the right testing and security controls in front of it? Okay, no questions. We can move on to the next slide. So one of the things that I've talked a lot about within the team is my fonts didn't transfer very well, did they? Was what, and this really was Krishna helped me under, talking through this with Krishna was, I've talked about different ways that we can do threat modeling. There's deep discussions around this. And my challenge with that is they're very verbose and labor intensive. And I wanted to come up with a way that people could actually be able to get some idea of their threat quickly. And so this is a spreadsheet that takes into account, it shows them how to determine impact and how to likelihood and identify the threat. And come up with a score quickly. And so this is attack surface modeling. Again, the purpose behind it is to be able to understand and recognize, hey, is this a 1 alarm fire? Is this a 5 alarm fire? Is this, how panicked should I be that this business is trying to bring this into my organization? And the rest of it, again, we follow. The other big change I've made is I've actually named the tabs. I align it with the OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act. And so each of the tabs helps you walks you through the OODA loop. And if you're familiar with it, the key behind the OODA loop is that it's a reiterative process. So you go through, you're in flight, you see another plane coming towards you. What should you do? Observe, orient, decide, act. And then as you and then you see that plane turning around. That's a new event. You observe, orient, decide, and act. So it's reiterative. And the point is as you work through it, you want to get to an answer quickly. And then once you go through the loop, then you start over again, observe, orient, okay, I've decided on the test cases. We've done, I've decided we need to test. I've got my test results back. Now what do I do? And so again, what we're really helping people with is taking all of this threat intelligence, and the key behind this is, the vision behind it is to take what we're taking out of the agentic team. I have another tab in the workbook that I can share at our next meeting where it actually aligns vulnerabilities with the OWASP top 10 and the agentic top 15. So you can go through and actually say, okay, yeah, I guess I didn't. Sorry, I'm working so fast, I can't remember everything I do. So you see everything on the top. I've got this issue. You see where it aligns with the top 10 and also with the top 15. Again, whether it's the threat intelligence team, they're busy aligning things with CVEs and CWEs. Now we have a way to orchestrate all of that information for people from the different groups so that they can start building out a strategy and understanding, okay, how do I prioritize? How do I know what threats I should be concerned about? I'll pause. Feedback, positive, good. Does everyone like the vision behind this?
I think there is
Okay.
a lot to be said, Sandy, about tooling that helps make the very unstructured and, as you said, narrative intensive threat modeling exercise to a more kind of repeatable risk evaluation language done there.
Okay. And the other thing, again, this Krishna, I can't say enough about how great it's been to have him kind of be a sounding board. Is being able to, we talked about the attack surface modeling. I kept saying it's got to be fast. It's got to be fast. And he really helped me kind of develop the strategy around building out the attack surface modeling. And again, I want to say, when I present, the purpose behind this is, here's a tool. I'm showing you how to do it. All of this, I hope people take it into their organizations. It is released open source, modify it, adjust it, add tabs, adjust, maybe you want to make the attack surface modeling more, add more details to it, please do. But the purpose is to give them a place to start, and a process that they can follow where it kind of combines all of the information that we're giving them.
Okay, just two comments. One is you had a slide about this deployment model, so I've expanded that a little bit, and we can talk about this tomorrow, because obviously you can reduce your attack surface by just deploying something on a single machine internally, right? So that's a big deal. I think we need to explicitly look at that a little bit more. And then also, we're talking about OODA, who is it who observes and decides and acts? And so this is where with Gen AI, there's a much bigger audience. And we've talked about this in the incident response, right? The incident response team is going to be very different for this compared with a data or a website issue. So we can expand on that a little bit, maybe in the checklist.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think this is taking that next step that we've talked about. And I think having tools like this are kind of make what our community is doing different, right? So we're taking that and we're taking the concepts and putting them into tools that people can apply. And I think that's really important.
I know
Okay.
PwC used to charge like $30,000 a day to do a half-day session with executives for incident response. Can we come up with a game that we can sell around this stuff and license to people?
No, this is for the greater good. That's OWASP, nonprofit.
Yes.
Yeah.
They could write it off as a tax donation.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Thanks, guys. Reach out to me if you have questions or jump in and add conversation to the channel.
Great. Thanks, Sandy. So I think, John, I think you're up next.
Come on, Ben. The next one, please. But there were so many slides, so I thought I'll put this so that we don't get right. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the Agentic Security Initiative. It's quite active. We released the threats mitigations, the version 1, and we decided to both have to go out and talk to the world and get feedback and spread the word. So we have had quite a couple of weeks, really, kind of the team really on fire. So first of all, Helena Oakley, who's phenomenal, and she's co-leading the 1.1 mitigation stream, and I'll talk about the streams. She wrote a fabulous business level piece in the Canada's Financial Post. Apologies for misspelling it there, titling it there. And there she builds the kind of the business risk, and then she ends up with talking about the initiative and giving signposting to the initiative. She also did, and I wasn't there, but Sandy, you were there. She did a phenomenal job in the keynote at the SANS AI Cybersecurity Summit by using a financial bot example to demonstrate the risk. So, well done to Helen. I hope if she's not on the call, she's watching it. Then we had the constellation of other workstream team leads. We had Kayla from Zynt Labs. We had Ali. We had Ken. Being at the Zynt Labs AI Agent Security Summit, you can see I did this all very fast. So kind of some of the things that Summit, it doesn't exist, it's Summit. And you can see some of the people there, well-known people there. You can see Ken there talking about threat modeling, talking about Maestro, talking about kind of discovering. And I think, having that presence is really important because popularize the work that we do, but also brings in feedback. Then we took it to the next level with Ali, who's a phenomenal young lady in our team, that she organized the Agentic Security Hackathon with Pensa, with Plex AI, with Pydantic, and another company that does JavaScript frameworks for Mensa. Yes. And so that was quite a great night. We will announce the winner at the RSA Summit at the workshop. So that's another reason to join us and find out who won that hackathon. That's the first of the series. We really believe strongly in demonstrating things in code, because otherwise you're just waffling or you're using ChatGPT to come up with things. So there will be more and more hackathons. In fact, I'm planning to work with Ali to do the next European one, hosted at the Kainos London offices. So if you are based in London or in the UK, come and join us. There was some community things that unexpected that came up and said, they're saying, hey, this is the 1.1. Here are my slides on the agentic threat modeling. You can find that at the bottom left, a LinkedIn post. So overall, I think, it's a nice vibe, nice energy, nice participation. Next slide, please, Scott.
Yeah, let me interject one thing real quickly, which is on the continuing on Ali's great work. I think that there's an opportunity for us to do a similar hackathon at DEF CON, so sponsored by the project. So we're going to look at doing that as well. So there looks like there's space and they're interested in doing that. And the foundation is looking to do that with us. So that can be a great other place someone can join us.
Well, that's a great form of a team engaging the community rather than just sending them documents and having endless calls on Zoom. You know, that's a very kind of great vibe collaboration with our primary audience, which is defenders and builders. So yeah, well done to the team. Next one, we amazingly enough, I thought it would be a massive kind of crash when I introduced the idea of work streams, but it looks like the work streams have taken off and they have their own kind of trajectory. The kind of the threat modeling guides, the securing up, all of them have their own calls. Then to bring the threads together, we dedicate one of our weekly calls to one of the work streams. So the next one is the securing agentic apps guide. So if you want to kind of have a deep dive on that, come on Monday. And the work stream leads there, they will be taking us through the work so far. Next slide, Scott. Obviously, as we scale, and we're taking actually the cue from the project and the work, Scott, you have done. So we're emulating at a kind of micro level that a little bit with work streams. But I guess, what we're finding, or what I'm finding, that I have ended up becoming a grumpy old headmaster repeating my lines, is that we must make sure all the outcomes align. You cannot have just, one blinky document that doesn't actually fit in with the rest. This is intended from our charter to provide a cohesive tooling to builders, defenders, and decision makers on how to tackle agentic AI risks. So the threat taxonomy, the cornerstone, and then we have all the other deliverables that are not random, they're not on their own. They kind of support that journey that practitioners have. So the taxonomy fits into the threat modeling guide, and that's the kind of the conversations we're having at the moment of how do we make sure that it's not just another taxonomy in there. And Sandy, I'm glad you kind of mentioned all those new tools. I'll make sure that we reference back on the mapping, we reference back on all the, kind of all the tooling that you have as part of our release on the threat modeling guide. So consistency and cohesion are critical.
Yeah.
Come and talk to us. Make sure we're part of the review challenge and say, hey, this document doesn't make any sense because you said something different in a different document. That's the challenge of scaling.
Yeah.
And I think, kind of having the also the distinguished expert boards, having a kind of a cursory eye on things helps. So yeah, overall, I'm very pleased of how we're scaling, but also being aware of the challenges and asking all of you to be judging us and keeping a critical eye, not just on the content. So don't just read the document on Maestro and say, oh, that's fantastic. Does it make sense in the whole kind of journey our practitioners will have? Because that's why we exist, not to publish fabulous documents, but to help those practitioners mitigate risks. And after that kind of pleasure, let's go to the next slide, Scott.
Yeah, and I'm just going to interject there one more time on this one and say, yeah, I think it's a really important, this is sort of both Steve and I, we and all of us, we've kind of set out this path, is that we're putting together a set of tools and resources that are integrated, right? If we end up with a bunch of bespoke things, then that's not as helpful. And everything from doing Sandy, when we got started doing the glossary to kind of help make sure we're using the same terms, to cross-referencing documents so that we're not necessarily replicating things, that we're building upon the stuff and make it easy for people to navigate. I think that just builds more quality into the resources we're providing and makes it easier for practitioners to get from point A to point B.
Exactly. And, interject at any stage, Scott or any one of you, but, our value is having practitioners, having something that's being used in practice and being used productively, not just the likes that we'll get on LinkedIn, which are important too. So next slide, please, Scott. Oops. Okay. And, I talked about reviews. I talked about being held to account. I think community is our strength of how we manage to do that, or how we want to do that. Scott, you already mentioned the security, the agentic security open workshop. We called it an open workshop, and I had kind of conversations with Scott back and forth on that and the team. We don't want something that's a series of monologues that workstream leads get there and they throw slides at you. We want this to be community driven. We want it to be, think of a kind of mini panel format that people set the context, give an update, there is a conversation, and then everyone gets involved. And we want to live stream here because we really, really want the community. It's a two-way street, both to learn from the work that we have done so that when the agentic tsunami comes into their environment, they know how to handle that, but also for us to kind of say, hey, that doesn't make sense. And obviously, the best way, if you're watching this, the best way to get involved to all this is the second part of the screen, which has the details of how to join our initiative. So that's my update for today, Scott. I don't know if there are any questions. We're all in agreement then, or I'm kind of stopped you all.
All right. Thanks, John. I think that's great. I think we've got a lot of things happening here, and I think it's we're already seeing like some of the impacts I mentioned briefly. People are already signing up for the workshop, and we've got I think it's roughly about 35, 40 people currently are signed up since Tuesday. So I think once more people learn about it, and I think there'll be a great opportunity for people to come together as a community and collaborate. I've also spoken to the head of our local chapter, who runs the OWASP for the San Francisco Bay Area. And they're going to be reaching out to local members because, again, as you said, this is an open workshop, and it's open to not just RSA attendees, but it's open to all OWASP and anybody else who's interested as well. So,
Scott, thanks for organizing it, despite all the other stuff you had for RSA and this being a last-minute thing. Thank you.
No worries. No worries. All right. Update on translations.
I don't think nobody's. I don't think he's on.
Is he on? Oh, that's right. No, sorry. He wasn't going to be able to make it. I remember seeing the note. So I'll just kind of fill in. So obviously, we just finished publishing 5 new translations. The translations team and community has been doing a fabulous job moving things forward and making sure that the top 10 list and our other assets are translated and accessible. So I think this also goes to speak a lot to what we're doing from a community perspective. We want to make sure our content is accessible. Eventually, we want to start to, pick up other content that we're doing, other resources, but this is our starting point. So we've got 5 that we've just put out. Simple Chinese, traditional Chinese. I'm going to try to remember these. German, Portuguese. I'm forgetting one. So the one I'm forgetting is the other one we put out. And then we've got these next.
We're putting something out in Korean and Persian and Chinese. We've got to put something out in Russian too. I mean, the 4 biggest.
Oh yeah, the Russian. That's
right?
Russian. No, we actually do have one out in Russian. Yes.
Yay!
And I'm delighted.
Here's your guidebook.
I'm delighted to see Greek there. Thank you.
I'm wondering if I can understand the Persian one. I need to go read it to see if I get it.
Do test actually.
John, you didn't do the translation yourself one word at a time? No?
No, I didn't. You might do, but neither. So someone else did.
Yeah, and right now we're trying to, I guess there's an issue we have around, I know this is being worked around unavailable PDF generation keys, and this is tied to the PDF generation tool, OWASP 1, so I know that's being worked. So if you're interested in helping with translations, jump on into the volunteers channel, Team LLM Translations, and help away. We have a lot of folks who've jumped in, and that's why we have the different translations we have today, because individuals have put forward their efforts and time to do that. So please join and contribute where you can. Let's see, CTI team update, Bryan. I saw you were on, and Rachel as you said, was not going to be available. You want to take this?
Yeah, hey everyone. So just a quick update from the CTI initiative. So we have the AI incident response guide that we're working on. So last meeting, which was last week, different kind of volunteer subgroups presented their detailed outlines for their sections. And so I should say things are chugging along well. We expect to have a full rough draft by April 17th, which is our next meeting next week. We expect a final draft by early May. We're trying to push it as fast as we can to try and sync it up with RSA, but I'm guessing that's not going to happen. But hopefully there should be enough that if people want to, potentially talk up the guide, it should be, available by then. The core team will have a draft by the first week of May. I will also add that. The other thing that we have coming up is the next phase of the exploit generation project. We're going to kick that off on April 29th, Tuesday, 4 p.m., 1 p.m. Pacific time. So the meeting series is going to be at that kickoff time. So we're going to have a bi-weekly meeting at that time for this initiative, trying to think more broadly about how we can leverage the insights that we've already had around generating exploits using LLMs and thinking about kind of a further set of tests and evaluations to do kind of threat research on the topic, of course. So anyways, please message either Rachel or I for an invite to the meeting. And then finally, the next meeting for the AI CTI initiative is going to be next week on the 17th, where we're going to be talking through the full draft. So I guess that's it. Any questions? Otherwise, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bryan. Yeah, and so hopefully everybody's aware of what we're doing for the Exploit Gen project, especially if you're new to the project. So there's been the first research that the group published was focused on comparing OpenAI, Claude, and DeepSeek for LLM exploit generation. And I think there's more to come around that, right?
Yeah. So the idea behind this next one is that we did it with a kind of very small group of volunteers. The first phase just to kind of get a feel for setting up the project, resource consumption, etc. And then so the next wave we're going to do kind of a wider set of evaluations of different LM models for their capacity to do exploit generation. So we need additional people. So if you want to volunteer, let us know.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Bryan. Okay. Now we're to discussions. Are there any other topics that we didn't bring up so far that people want to discuss from the core team? Aubrey, do we have going as far as the podcast stuff? How are we doing with that? Are there things you need help around that, etc.?
We are doing pretty good. It looks like the growth continues to happen on Spotify, which is really nice. I'm just surprised. It's there's a whole lot of subscribers on the Spotify platform for it, with only 6 episodes. So we got a couple more on tap that are coming up, and that's good. I'm probably going to be tapping some people on the shoulder for maybe some participation soon. And again, I try to shoot for, just if anyone's thinking about whether or not they can fit it in, I typically shoot for the week opposite this meeting, right? So same Wednesday next week, I'll be looking to try and have a recording date. And then the week after would be this meeting, and the week after that would be actually RSA, I think.
Yeah, we'll be getting to RSA at that point. So, and then are you set for what we need to do for recording for the summit? Do you need help?
I am pretty set. I was planning on doing the exact same thing I did last year. I'm just going to set up and, try and stealth manage the cameras, see if I can't plug in. I'm going to bring, actual, power cords for the cameras, which I typically don't use. Usually it's battery, but that worked out really well last year. So I'd like to try and repeat the same thing. And of course, I'm going to have another, like a third camera, literally, just as I kind of sit there. I just want to make sure that I don't get, asked to stop recording and we have to stop. So we'll see.
Sounds good. Yeah, I know it's a little bit of guerrilla, but that's what we have to do.
Well, it's better than paying the prices that they have for people out in California for the same service. For sure.
Yeah. And then and then we've got and you've got time set aside also help for the agentic one, or do we need to get some more help on that one too? I know we've got a lot of things going on, stretching people kind of thin, so I want to make sure we've got
that. I don't have help on. What day is that? Also Wednesday?
That is also Wednesday. We have all day Wednesday. So as I in the earlier part, I know you had to step away, but in the earlier part, we have the summit, followed by from 2 to 5 by the agentic work group, open workshop, and that's happening at the Spur, just where we're having our same event that evening. And so we've got a room set for that as well, just about a block off of the conference center. So
How much time in between
in between the
summit and then the agentic?
So the summit technically ends at 12:30 is what our scheduled end is, but usually drags over a little bit, I would expect. So we're thinking about 12:45, 1, and then between 1 and the next startup is 2.
2.
Okay. So we got an hour break in between for people to go grab lunch, and then join everyone over at the other workshop.
Okay. I may go a little more kind of like single camera at the agentic piece and just kind of try to capture that a little more organically than just record the whole thing.
Well, we're looking to live stream it, so and do that via our StreamYard.
Sure. If you want to, yeah, I'm happy to do that too.
So you can
in that case,
do a lock off. We can do a camera lock off, and then you can just kind of fill in there, and we don't have any issues with union folks there. So let me know if you need any help on stuff there too.
Do you know if there's a board there, a sound board?
No.
You don't know?
I don't know, and I don't think there is, unless we bring it in.
Are we planning on having someone up at a podium or anything like that for that?
We have 2 room spaces we can use depending upon how many people show up. One will accommodate up to 170 people. One is closer to around 80. So depending on where we start going. Both have screens, projection screens, seating for it. And so there will be, I think the idea is that there will be a panel, and there will be panel members who are sitting up there on the panel having a conversation. And then, but we do have to bring in our own, gear one way or another.
Okay. What were you going to say, John?
If we have to rent some gear, we can probably do that too.
I think first of all, apologies. This is kind of, as I said, kind of late addition. We'll buy you a nice lunch from the agentic team just to say thank you. I think the key is for us is really important to capture that participation vibe that we want to create. This is really, really about the community. So live streaming it, having people participate. That's on us, of course. Participate in the dialogue. That will be the theme of that event.
Okay.
We'll probably need to identify some people to help and to take different roles. Like somebody needs to be sitting on the console and taking questions to help bring that into it.
Yeah, we're working on the format and all that. So I think me and Ron will probably do the kind of, with some cameo appearances that I'm not going to reveal on this call, we will be doing the kind of the coordination, and then the workstream leads will be a panel that they're discussing what's happening, and then, being interactive with the audience there. But we're figuring out the kind of the format, and we'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good to maybe get a logistics meeting together also, just kind of sidebar so we don't take up too much of this meeting.
I was going to suggest that. I just wanted to check in kind of where we were, and then let's set up a sidebar meeting and have a conversation so we make sure we're all lined up on it. So I think that'd be great.
Perfect.
Awesome. Other topics people want to bring up? Silence. Checking for raised hands. I don't see any raised hands. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thanks speakers for covering their topics in their areas. And wish you all a good next couple of weeks, and see you next time around. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thanks for checking out our bi-weekly meeting podcast. If you'd like to stay up to date on all the latest news for the OWASP Top 10 for Large Language Model applications, please click subscribe. And of course, we'd appreciate it if you'd share with a friend to grow our community. We'll see you in 2 weeks.